Internet friends, what's good? I'm Stay Loose here with the Grandmother by Moog, showing you how to make awesome sounds on this super amazing synthesizer. I'm doing a monthly series, different synth, different month. Show you how to create a ton of sounds on them. This is the first one. We're getting right into this. Really love this synthesizer a lot. So let's dive right in and just get you making music. We're doing a synth-based pluck, like you heard in the intro, a sound that's super usable in not just house music or pop music, but stuff like, synth-wave, retro wave, which is where I tend to use it a lot. Let's get going from left to right. We're going to start over here at the ARP sequencer. Let's set up this thing for the sounds. You can have all the switches right now to the left. You can leave the rate wherever it's at. We're going to want to put the waveform on your modulation section on square. Cut off all the way down, pitch them out down, all of these down. Okay, let's dive into oscillator section. Oscillator 1, octave 32. Square wave, sync is on, frequencies at 0. Oscillator 2, 16 on the octave section. We want this sawtooth on the waveform. Mixer section, oscillator 1 and 2 cranked, noise off. Utility section, I'm going to set up the high pass just a little bit around 9 o'clock. I'm going to keep the attenuator all the way in the negative position. Filter section, I'm going to keep the keyboard tracking off. I'm going to start with the cutoff around the 9 o'clock position, the envelope amount around the 9 o'clock position, and the resonance around the 11 o'clock position. Let's move into the envelope section. You can turn your sustain to 0. You can cut your decay down to around 9 o'clock. Have your attack as fast as it goes, and you can also keep your release around 9 o'clock. Spring reverb will be off, and the envelope on the VCA mode all the way to the left. Got my volume cranked. All right, let's patch this guy in from left to right. Going gate out ARP and to sync in on the modulation. We're taking the wave out of oscillator 2 and going into the oscillator in of the mixer. Now we're going to take the output of the mixer and run it into our utilities multi. Take this multi and run it into the input of your attenuator, and then output that attenuator to the input of the high pass filter. Last couple are, we're going to want to output that high pass filter to the input of our filter section and take the envelope out of the envelope and run it into the cutoff in of the filter section so that these controls manipulate this. It should sound really good off the jump. There you go. Already sounds like a nice throaty pluck sound. This is where these nifty buttons come in. Play, hold if you want to just, hit one to manipulate the sound. Here's where you can set up your rate. What's great about the Grandmother is it will take clock in. How I do that to get it to the tempo of my track in my DAW is I use Ableton, and I actually use the USB here, USB out of Ableton into the Grandmother. It knows what to do as soon as you plug it in. It will sync the rate to the tempo of your DAW, and you will hit space if you have it engaged to play. When you hit the space bar, it will start playing this. And it will take MIDI as well, so you can have MIDI data from your DAW running directly into the Grandmother if you prefer to do it that way. This sound is super versatile. It's great in a lot of stuff. You can have a real play with the envelope section here. If you want like a nice long released bass with a lot of decay, or if you want just a really snappy, tight bass pluck like I like to use in more of that synth-wavy type sound. You can have a play with the high pass filter, more or less sub essentially. And I really like to play around with the resonance on this sound. Here you can get it super resonant sounding, which is really cool. Another cool thing I like to do is I like to use the pitch amount to give it a little more bite on the top. There it is, real simple patch, really cool sound. Will really fill out your tracks, especially if you're, if you're using a VST for your bass sounds and you're just missing that like warmth, that grit, that depth. Something like this is a great solution to fill in the gaps. A lot of my tracks anymore are the bass is just this, no more VST stuff. I've almost entirely moved to creating all my basses on the Grandmother or the Dave Smith Instruments Prophet 6, which I will show you at a later time. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe to the channel, come back, show you how to make some more sounds. See ya.